Coming up on Mornings on the Hill, the first commencement in almost 2 years is right around the corner. Find out how this year will be different than others.
Vaccines protecting people from the virus, but who is protecting people from vaccine discrimination?
And the fairgrounds have added a new attraction for their food fest.
All that plus weather and sports. Mornings on the Hill starts right now.
I'm Sierra Ryder. Thanks for joining us for Mornings on the Hill.
And I'm Manny Martinez. Let's start with team coverage this morning, covering commencement 2021. With graduation quickly approaching, SU has sent out dozens of emails to students and guests advising them to arrive with either negative tests or proof of vaccination. Mornings on the Hill reporter Sierra Williams tells us how this new normal is anything but normal to SU students. Sierra?
Good morning, Manny. You took the words right out of my mouth. The graduates here at SU say that these guidelines are nothing you would see at your typical graduation.
It's very different. I think it sucks.
That's how graduating senior Alexis Bush feels, knowing that she will not be able to walk the stage.
And to be able to walk across the stage in front of your family and friends and just all your professors, it's like an actual moment.
And after a year being in a pandemic, students are still in shock.
I presume at the latest January will be fine. I'll have a normal graduation. I'll be able to walk the stage. I'll get the graduation that I've always dreamed of here at SU, like just in the dome.
Carl Jones, another graduate, said he invited his two parents.
When I told my dad that I'm just literally just gonna be sitting in the crowd and that's what you're gonna get, he goes, "What's the point of coming?" Like I don't get it. And my mom, on the other hand, she's like, "Oh no, I waited 5 years to see my baby graduate. I don't care what you're doing. I want to see it."
That excitement is built up from last year because they canceled it.
Having that taken away from us last year was tough. Not just on me, but my family as well, because obviously they want to see their son and see their kid have fun on that weekend.
Understanding safety comes first. Alexis stays optimistic.
So just to be there with the graduating classes of like all the graduates of Syracuse, it's still going to be a special moment for us, I think so.
The anticipation for parents and students can come to an end.
Okay, I missed out on the first time. Cool, don't worry. I'll come back for my second time and get it. Didn't work out either, but it's fine. It is what it is. I'm just grateful to be able to just have 2 degrees from this fine university.
And just a reminder on some of those guidelines, all guests have to be able to present a negative COVID test 3 days before their arrival or proof that they've been vaccinated. For Mornings on the Hill, I'm Sierra Williams.
Thanks, Sierra. Now, getting a graduation ticket causing problems for students across campus. Our Maya Laka is live to tell us about the difficulties. Maya?
If you're graduating next week like me, then you were panicking last week just like me, trying to get graduation tickets. Some students said they waited 2 to 3 hours just to claim their tickets.
It has been 2 years since Syracuse University has hosted an in-person graduation, and students like Kayla Mackey, who graduated from SU in 2020 with a bachelor's degree, will finally be able to experience an in-person graduation in May.
I would say bittersweet because, yes, I get to walk in some capacity of this year, but it's still not the full experience that I would have hoped for.
For many graduates, this information they are receiving has led to many confused and frustrated seniors and graduate students.
There's a lot of information being thrown at us coming from multiple directions.
The most confusing part for Kayla and most 2021 graduates has been the ticket situation.
I didn't know that tickets were going on sale maybe until about 10-15 minutes before.
Students who registered to attend graduation should have received an email that would allow them to claim their tickets as well as 2 tickets for their guests on Ticketmaster. But the hardest task was successfully getting on the site.
I would get on, well, at least for the student tickets, I would get on for a long time. They would kick me out and then I would be back in line and I would get on and I'll be trying to press submit, and it'll say it didn't work.
Students waited in line for hours to be able to claim their guest tickets and to be able to choose what section of the stadium they would sit in.
I didn't finish getting all of my tickets till about 12 o'clock. Like, that's how long it took me. It started at 10 o'clock when they first opened, and it took me about 2 hours to secure both my tickets and my 2 guest tickets. So that was a little annoying.
Graduates said that they were able to claim their tickets, but their biggest issue was placing their guests close to where they will be seated during graduation. For the final time, reporting live from Mornings on the Hill, I'm Maya Lockett.
Thanks, Maya. The FDA announced Monday it has expanded the emergency use authorization for the Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine to now include kids 12 through 15 years old. Governor Cuomo saying in a press release yesterday that shots can begin being administered as early as tomorrow. The governor called this an encouraging step and says the state is taking all of the appropriate precautions to ensure safety within the vaccine program.
And our time fighting COVID-19 is slowly coming to a close. Vaccines are stopping the spread of the virus, but now another issue has pushed Governor Cuomo into action. Our Ryan Clark found out why the governor passed a discrimination law focusing on vaccines. Ryan?
Well, Manny, New York has actually done a pretty good job at vaccinating its residents. It comes right at the bottom of the top 10 list, placing at number 9, with over 50% of its residents having at least their first shot. But as the summer months get closer, we're starting to return to normalcy. Cuomo says that New York will then have a new problem: discrimination. The governor has passed a law banning discrimination in the workforce of businesses when you're publicly available, that when you have a vaccine. Yes, you heard that right. Discrimination when you have a vaccine. And if you're shocked by that news, take a listen to how Cuomo himself feels about the issue.
There are some situations where people are discriminating against people who got a vaccine, which is almost inexplicable to me.
While Cuomo mentioned multiple businesses in his briefing, one stood out more than most. Camp Hecon, a Jewish summer program for boys and girls in Sullivan County, has said campers and counselors alike are required not to be vaccinated to be considered for an application. The camp says they require their staff to keep their health in their minds. Now, this new law is a human rights law, and it will prevent discrimination against positive COVID tests and if you have received a vaccine. But that's all for now. After a year of reporting, for the last time, I'm Ryan Clark.
Ryan, thank you. As New York State continues to open, some outdoor fun is coming back. Our Matt Mladzinski is at the New York State Fairgrounds, where the Food Fest is getting a new edition this weekend.
Sense of normalcy is coming back to the New York State Fairgrounds. Rides like this will be back at Food Fest for the first time during the COVID-19 pandemic. An improved state of the pandemic has already allowed the State Fair Food Fest to go from drive-in only to in-person. Starting this weekend, there will be rides for people to enjoy, a bright signal for a return to normal.
I think it's probably the right time to bring it back. Like, it's definitely the best we've been in like a year. I think everyone's kind of at the point where they're ready for things like the state fair or like baseball games and stuff like that.
The Food Fest will still comply with COVID-19 guidelines, working to make it a safe environment for all who attend.
You're moving around in a ride and everything, and it's usually like out in the air. And I mean, the person I'm sitting right next to is probably going to be someone I know, so that's not a huge deal. So yeah, I think I'd absolutely get on the ride.
I'm still a kid at heart, so I'll definitely be here. But if you're looking to check it out, it's Friday through Sunday at Gate 6 of the New York State Fairgrounds. For Mornings on the Hill, I'm Matt Mladzinski.
Coming up on Mornings on the Hill, how volunteers are saving horses from harm.
Coming up on Mornings on the Hill, I'll have your full weather forecast, so stay tuned to what's coming to Syracuse.
Welcome back. It's now time for a check on your weather for today.
Troy Rose is live on the weather deck for a look at what's ahead. Troy?
Syracuse saw light winds last night, but this morning we have a pocket full of sunshine with temperatures getting up to the 60s today with slight winds moving into the east. Shifting to tomorrow, the sun will beam and the temperature will make its way up to the mid 60s and into the evening down into the 40s. Now for the weekend, even better, high 60s, and moving over to Sunday, we'll see temperatures getting up to 72 degrees. So make sure you utilize the outdoors, go for a run, shoot you some hoops, do whatever. But make sure you save those hoodies and jackets till the evening, where it'll get chillier and move down to the 40s. And summer is quickly approaching, so make sure that you stay tuned with us as we continue to give you updates on what's coming with the weather here in Syracuse. I'm Troy Rose for NCC News. Back to the studio.
Well, new life for our four-legged friends. A dedicated group of volunteers are playing a key role in helping horses who would otherwise be destined for the slaughterhouse. Reporter Xavier Brown has more.
God.
Angela Gardner can calm the most difficult animals. She's worked on farms all her life, caring for horses that would otherwise perish. That love is what brought Tito's personality back. Tito was underweight, moody, and very aggressive until Angela nursed him back to life.
He has been such a trooper since we started this whole thing. He's gotten life back. He goes out to the pasture now, and he is just full of life.
Tito was bred for harness racing, but the 9-year-old gelding was abandoned, left to die in a pen. A group called Sunshine Horses found him, his skin covered in boils.
Their hooves irritate the inside, and this guy got quite infected. They started out pretty big.
When the volunteers found Tito, he could barely walk. A veterinarian worked on his joints.
Apparently he was in a lot of pain, and after that adjustment with the chiropractor, he almost was a completely different horse.
From volunteers to trainers, they all want the same thing, for these horses to find a great home and get the care that they actually need. These animals come from all over the place, and quite frankly, the people that help them are only volunteers. That's why this is such a unique place. Volunteer Jan Lauer, a community outreach coordinator, explains where they find these horses.
We find them from the racetracks, kill pens, people's backyards.
They're lucky enough to end up here with a personal diet, grooming plans, and their own stall.
Families that want them come to us and are interviewed. We have to approve where they live from now on. We promise the person we take the horse in from that we will give them a forever home.
Volunteers have to be level-headed and trained because things can get frustrating.
Being angry when you're here, it's not good for the horses because we're supposed to be helping them as well, even though they're also helping us.
One of the reasons it worked for Tito is because he found his perfect pal. You will always have a home when you're living with your best friend. I'm Xavier Brown with Mornings on the Hill.
Wonderful story, Troy Rose. Thank you. Still to come here on Mornings on the Hill. SU men's lacrosse gears up for the NCAA tournament, but that's not the only story surrounding the team. Stay with us.
Good morning and welcome to sports. I'm Adam Klepp. We start with the Syracuse men's lacrosse team. They will play in their first game in the NCAA tournament Saturday against 5-seeded Georgetown. Syracuse is 17-5 all-time against the Hoyas. They've met 4 times in the tournament, and Syracuse is 3-1 in those matchups. They played most recently in the tournament in 2004. The winners of Saturday's game will go on to play the winner of Virginia and Bryant next weekend. However, the biggest story for the men's lacrosse team is currently taking place off the field. Chase Scanlon ended up in handcuffs on Friday, arrested by the Syracuse police. According to the police department, Chase Scanlon is charged with criminal mischief. Artaha Rao has the latest.
That's right. Scanlon was arrested for what the Department of Public Safety is now describing as a domestic incident which took place on April 17th. And according to the Onondaga County DA, Scanlon was accused of having a physical altercation and breaking the woman's phone. Now, some of the players on the Syracuse lacrosse team posted a message on Instagram after, including attacker Stephen Rafis, and a part of the statement read as following: I, An individual member of the Syracuse lacrosse team stand firmly against domestic violence and domestic abuse of any form. When I play this sport, I now play to raise awareness and show support for all victims of domestic abuse and violence. Now, Scanlon is scheduled to reappear in court in July, while the men's team is scheduled to play this Saturday against Georgetown to open up their NCAA tournament. Back to you guys in the studio.
Thanks, Saha. Over the weekend, Syracuse softball snapped Clemson's 19-game win streak in dramatic fashion. In the bottom of the seventh, with the bases loaded down 6-5, Gianna Torres came up to the plate. Here's Ben Schulman on the call for ACC Network.
Go for the Orange. Ground ball up the middle, through. One run's going to score. The ball is bobbled. The Orange win. Gianna Torres walks it up.
This win locked Syracuse into the ACC tournament. They will play Georgia Tech today at 1 p.m. with the winner taking on Clemson in the second round. Also yesterday, senior Nelly Casares-Mayer and grad student Alexa Romero were named to the All-ACC second and third teams. Casares-Mayer leads the Orange with a .349 batting average and has started all 43 games for Syracuse this season. Romero ended the season with a 3.29 ERA and 9 complete games. Despite the successes on the field for softball, there is some trouble off it. An article was published Monday in the Daily Orange, which 7 former players and 1 current player allege that coach Shannon Depking has created a, quote, toxic environment that includes verbal abuse, hazing, and mistreatment. The Daily Orange noted that 12 players have since left the program since Depking took over in 2018. Although since the article came out, a few current players tweeted their support for Depking. Gianna Torres, that coach Depking has made her fall in love with the game again. Paris Woods tweeted that she has been very happy since joining the team as a transfer in 2019. Lastly, in sports today, the New York Yankees are facing a COVID scare. Yankees third base coach Phil Nevin tested positive for COVID-19. Despite being fully vaccinated, the quarantine protocols did not affect players, and the games have gone on as scheduled with no postponements. That'll do it for sports. Back to you, Sierra.
Well, with Mayfest in question, University Union is bringing a new event to campus. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to Mornings on Hill. Well, it's May 12th and still no Mayfest. SU students are wondering all about it. Our Madison Hillemeyer has the update on popular spring festival, Madison.
Although Mayfest will not happen this year, the University Union is putting on what's called the Block Party this Friday. There will be a ton of events leading up to the virtual concert, but students they still feel like they're missing out. Though the popular festival didn't happen this year, University Union is hosting the Block Party for students. The virtual concert will be Friday from 8 to 11 and feature artists such as Lil TJ, Aminé, Dominic Fike, Sophie Tucker, and Flo Milli. University Union will also have in-person activities on the quad on Friday from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. There will be a photo booth and voter registration tables. From 3 to 7 p.m. at the Women's Building, there will be extreme racing and silent disco. The event is free. Students just have to RSVP online.
Wish that we could have had Mayfest, but I obviously understand, like, given the circumstances, but I'm glad they were still able to put something together, even if it's virtual,
Hopefully Mayfest can return in 2022, but until then, I'm excited to see what the Block Party has to offer on the last day of class. Reporting live for the final time, Madison Hillemeyer, Mornings on the Hill.
Thanks, Madison. It's definitely not going to be the same having everything online with this Block Party, and this whole year it's kind of been like that, but I think that we got some good news to look for in the future, and hopefully that won't be like that for a long time.
No, totally. I mean, back in August when the year started, I myself thought it was probably going to be impossible, but here we are. We're doing it, and we did it.
We sure did. All right, well, that's going to do it for this edition of Mornings on the Hill. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Sierra Ryder.
And I'm Manny Martinez. Our final show of the semester begins shortly.